Let's see if I can create the cutest K-pop girl group. Whether you loved my perfect girl group and my ultimate boy group or not, let's hope that the third tries the charm as I try to adhere to a specific concept this time. Those of you who saw my perfect girl group will know that it ended up airing pretty hard on the side of Girl Crush, and one of my community members suggested that I try pursuing a group with a cute concept next time, and I thought that would be a really fun challenge, especially since I don't really listen to groups with cute concepts. Despite all that, I'm pretty happy with the group that I chose, and I'm wondering if you'll agree. Some slight updates to my arbitrary rules this time. I really do want 7 members this time because I feel like cuter concepts benefit from a slightly larger crew. I can still only have 1 main and 1 lead for each role, but I can have as many subs or unranked performers for each position as I like. If you're unfamiliar with how K-pop group roles and rankings work, don't worry, I got you covered. I already made a video about that, so go watch that before you watch this one, and it'll make a lot more sense. And this time, in addition to disqualifying all girls on top members automatically, I'm also disqualifying all of the members of my previous perfect girl group because they're busy. My absolute number 1 priority right now is whether they fit the concept. I genuinely didn't even care about songwriting experience this time because I was really so much more concerned with whether they fit the vibe. That said though, aside from that, versatility is absolutely going to be my biggest priority. Because I'm seeking performers for a particular concept, it seems like they'll naturally work together, and so I'm more worried about finding performers who are capable of filling more than 1 role. And boy, do I feel like I nailed it on that front. So, who did I pick? This time, let's start with the most obvious member. We're going to start with the face of the group, and it's going to be Chu, formerly of Luna. I didn't actually choose a face of the group in either of my previous 2 episodes, but I feel like Chu was born to play this role. I don't really enjoy watching variety show content, but I have to admit that Chu was born to do this stuff. The girl is just pure charisma and joy and energy and an infectious laugh and smile. For those who don't know, Chu's untimely dismissal ultimately resulted in the complete dissolution of Luna and their label Blackberry Creative. The TLDR is that it was some bullshit, and she deserves better. But unfortunately, she's not going to get it in terms of titles in this group. Naturally, I gave her vocalist and rapper and dancer titles, but I didn't have any superlatives left to give her. But she still gets to be face of the group. That's important. So good for you, Chu. Happy to have you aboard. Wouldn't it be such a great finale for Chu's redemption arc that she gets to return to her face of the group role for the cutest girl group of all time? I love it too much. I can't handle it. I've always felt like Chu's persona kind of was out of step with Luna's overall concept, and I would really love to see her get to lean into who she is as a person within the concept of a group. Either way, stream Strawberry Rush. It's like pure serotonin. Next up, let's go to the idol I selected for my leader. She doesn't have any explicit leadership experience, but I know she'd be able to rise to this role. It's Nayeon from Twice. She's actually face of the group in Twice, and putting her in a leadership position would make it so that she still gets to go on variety shows and do interviews and speak for the group on a regular basis. I selected her as my lead vocalist. I'm not gonna lie, I thought she was the main vocalist of Twice for an embarrassingly long time. Sorry, Jihyo. No offense. And initially I had her penciled in as main here, but I just know I'm gonna get roasted in the comments if I don't choose this other person as my main, so sorry Nayeon, you're gonna be lead, and you'll do great at it because you always do. Naturally, I also gave her a dancer role, and I gave her a sub-rapper role because she is actually pretty decent in that, and she had to get a visual because, of course. I don't know why, but she's always struck me as like the pretty popular girl at high school, but like the one that got to be popular because everybody really liked her, not just because her clothes were nice. Am I projecting? Maybe. Either way, this group wouldn't be complete without her. Next up, another artist I knew I had to include here pretty much immediately. It's Yena, formerly of IZ*ONE. It was around this time that I started to realize that the rankings that I gave out for these groups are kind of bullshit because so many of these performers are so multi-talented that any of them could fulfill a main or lead role adequately. Yena's solo work has been focusing more on her vocal talents, but I actually appointed her as my lead rapper and a vocalist and a dancer. Yena and Chu are both super overqualified to be unranked vocalists, but I did this to myself, so there I go. Thanks, past me. Really going to try to exercise some discipline this time, though. I think it's been really cool to see Yena grow into her own direction post IZ*ONE, and I think that a group like this could really help amplify those cute vibes up to an 11. Also, if you are one of those people who is mad at her over Hate Rodrigo, you literally just proved the point of the song. Read the lyrics, please? Please. Reading comprehension is a dying art. Next up, let's move over to my main rapper, which is Hikaru from Kepler. Kepler was definitely the group that kept me up at night when I was trying to figure out this concept. It is always a coin toss for me to choose between Hikaru and Daeyeon. I think that they're such a great pair together, but I couldn't bring them both. I decided on Hikaru based on the concept, and I'm really not mad that I'll have Daeon in my hand for a future group. I also made her my lead dancer and a sub-vocalist. Honestly, she's a fine vocalist, I just don't picture myself using her that way most of the time. Because if last time I ended up with a ridiculous dance line, this time I think my vocal line is kind of unstoppable. I totally could have seen a different arrangement of these roles where I went for Hikaru as my main dancer, but I think that you'll probably agree with the person I selected instead. First though, let's move back over to my main vocalist. For that role, I selected Solyoon from NMIXX. To say that Solyoon gets overshadowed by Haewon and Lily would be quite an understatement because boy, she's such a powerhouse in her own right, and she really comes alive when NMIXX dips their toes into cuter concepts. I gave her a dancer title because that's all I had left, and also appointed her as my center. And of course she gets a visual title of her own. The Solyoon-Nayeon visual combo, oh my god, heads will turn. Next up, we have perhaps the most accurately named idol of all time. It's Joy from Red Velvet. Even when Red Velvet delves into their darkest concepts, there's something intrinsically adorable about Joy that yields a certain lighthearted sweetness. But by including her here, I feel like she'd almost have the opposite effect and add just a touch of darkness to my cute group. After all, there's a reason we use slightly bitter chocolate to make the best cookies. I appointed Joy as a rapper. It actually makes my teeth hurt thinking about how sweet of a rap line Hikaru plus Yena plus Joy would be. All three of them have very distinctive voices and it would be really easy to pick them apart. I gave her a dancer title because why not? I guess everybody just gets one of those these days. And I also appointed her as a sub-vocalist because much like Hikaru, I don't think she's going to be doing that as much. That brings me to my last member, my main dancer. It's Hani from New Jeans. I sure hope you didn't think I was going to forget about New Jeans in this episode because they absolutely needed to be represented here by at least somebody. And when I realized I still needed a main dancer, it immediately narrowed it down to Hani. New Jeans has somehow managed to figure out doing cute in a way that makes it palatable to pretty much everybody, including miserable goths like myself. Of course, I gave her a vocalist title, and I also gave her a sub-rapper title because I think it would be fun to have her as an option as well. And with my 7 members selected, it's time to give out my Maknae title. We ended up with a pretty big age gap this time, making it all the more natural to choose Nayeon as my leader. But somehow we ended up with 3 04-liners. Of the 3, Hani is the youngest, so congratulations, Hani. You've been promoted. You are my Maknae. I didn't bother looking up what languages everyone speaks this time because I don't care and it's late. Aegyo is a universal language, even if 97% of humans don't know what that means. I know somebody's going to ask me what song I would want to see them do, so I thought about this, and I think if I was going to pick anything, I would love to see them do a cover of After School by Weekly. So what do you think? How did I do? Are you big mad that there's no Stacy members in here? Are you silently raging into your J-Friend sweatshirt? Or were you just hoping that Oh My Girl and Fromis 9 might finally get the recognition they deserve? One way or the other, I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. Don't be toxic, and I'll catch you next time.